Hi there, 7th grade students, and welcome to Monday, December 14th. We are beginning our last week of school, and it looks like we could even have some snow on Wednesday. So I don't actually know if I will see you then, but either way, your work for this week needs to be completed. So if we don't see each other on Wednesday, you just need to make sure that all the homework for this week is brought in when we return. So put it in a special folder or put it someplace where you won't lose it. So today I want to talk about two other verb forms that you guys probably use quite a bit. So I'll give you some examples as we get started. But we are on page 181, progressive and emphatic verb forms. Now, a progressive verb form, if you look at your gray box, again, we're on page 181, shows action or condition in progress. And we'll talk about all of what that looks like in just a minute. So what we are doing is we are adding ing to a word, but then we are also adding one of the form of be verbs, am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been. So let's look at some examples of that. Now, you probably use this a lot, and you probably don't even realize you use it a lot. Let me give you an example. Maybe your mom pops in your room and says, "Are you studying that passage?" And you look at her and you know you've been studying and you know you've been working hard, and you look around at her and you say, "I am studying the passage," or "I am doing my homework." That's a progressive verb form. Another example, I feed the calves. And instead, mom may say, "Did you feed the calves?" or "Are you feeding the calves?" And you would look back at her and say, "I am feeding the calves." So that is how the progressive verb form is used. Notice that you could do this in all 6 tenses. With the emphatic, you can only do it in a couple of tenses, but with the progressive, you can do it in all the tenses. She is singing, she was singing, she will be singing, she has been singing, she had been singing, she will have been singing. So now with our future perfect, past perfect, present perfect, we can add progressive. So sometimes you'll have 2 categories that you have to clarify for the progressive. Okay, let's talk about the emphatic verb, and that gives emphasis. And again, you probably use this and don't even realize it. We are going to add do, does, or did to the verb. So let's take a look. It can only exist in the present and the past tenses. So let's take a look at some of the conjugations and, whoops, I've looked at the progressive. Let me go back to this. Sorry. The emphatic adds do, does, and did. And so if your mom added or asked you something, let me just put that down here so that we can remember that. Do, does, did. So mom says, "Are you taking the trash out?" You might look back at her and say, "I did take the trash out." Or, "I do take my schoolwork seriously." That's emphatic. So you're using do, does, or did with those verbs. Okay, let's look at the conjugation of these. So here is the progressive form. Present tense, past tense, future tense. I am learning. You are learning. He is learning. I was learning. You were learning. So it uses the form of be, and it can still be in present, past, or future. Here's the perfect. I have been learning. You have been learning. I had been learning. All the way through. So you can do the perfect with the progressive form. I suggest that maybe you capture these pictures, put them on an index card, or take your own picture or make out index cards just so that you can remember what it looks like in present perfect and present, past, and perfect tenses with the progressive form. And then here is the do, does, did with our emphatic. So present tense emphatic, I do learn. Just like if you looked around and looked at your mom, I do learn, or I do well in school. I did learn, I did take out the trash. So when we see that do, does, or did appear, then we know we have got emphatic verbs. So let's take a look at the class practice, and we'll just do a little bit of this just to make sure that you're getting it. So we want to take a look at class practice A on page 184. And we're going to read each sentence. We're going to change the verb to the progressive. Do not change the tense of the verb. So I want you to take a minute, do 1 through 6, and then I will read the sentences so that you know the answers. You do not need to do this to turn it in, as I suspect that we probably will not be in school on Wednesday. So I just want you to do it just for practice. Okay, if you're back, let me give you the answer. So we have these plants look healthy. That's just normal present tense. But let's add the progressive. These plants are looking healthy. Number 2, Mother was preparing the dinner. Number 3, who has been drawing these pictures? Number 4, by this time next year I shall have been learning the language. Number 5, we had been watching the sunset. And number 6, we shall be seeing you tomorrow, the Lord willing. All right, and now let's just do that with the emphatic form in B. So take a moment to do B, hit pause, and then come back. All right, if you're back, I assume that you're ready for the answers. So here's where we're adding the do, does, did. I think these are way easier than the progressive form. Judith does have chicken pox, so there's that emphasis that's added. The wind did blow until noon. The men did work on the shed today. The Thorntons did go on a trip yesterday. Your parents do teach you many important things. I do appreciate the help that they have given me. So you can see how that emphasis is used. Now I want you to do the same thing for C. I want you to do, there's 8 there. And I really want you to take the time and think through these. You are going to be putting those into the tenses. Give the tense of each verb, but then add in if it is progressive or emphatic. So you are adding the progressive and emphatic, but you're also looking for the tense. So work on those and then come back when you are ready. So if you're back, I assume that you have done C. So let's take a look at number 1. We do want God's approval in everything. So we've got emphatic there. We can tell that already. I don't see any EDs in there and any indication that it's past, and I do not see any will or shall for future. So it's present emphatic. The grass had grown fast during the wet weather. Well, that's just past perfect. It has the word had in there, but it doesn't have any of the progressive that's added to that, and there's definitely not a do, does, or did. All right, the boys have been cleaning the garage. Okay, here's where we're going to add the progressive, because we have the be, being, been, the be verbs. Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been. And we have the have. So we definitely have present perfect. We have the be verb, and so now we've got progressive as well. All right, they will burn the rubbish. I have a future indication there, but no do, does, or did, and no am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been. So just a normal future. Brother Lynn was giving us some good advice. Okay, we can look at that one. And it could be present, it could be past. So if you said past or present, I'd be okay. But the big thing there is that you need to realize it's progressive. The was is added in there. Number 6, I have never seen a real meteorite. Okay, well, it could be past, but it's more likely present. And it's also perfect. It's got the have, has, had in there. I have never seen a meteorite. Okay. We students did surprise the teacher by our early arrival. All right, so this indicates past, and I have a do, does, did, so I've got an emphatic going there. So emphatic past. By 6 o'clock, they will have been traveling for 9 hours. Well, we have the will, so we're pointing to the future. We have the have, so it's perfect. And we have been, B-E-E-N, the be verb. So we have progressive. So see how confusing this can be? So I want you to review those if you have gotten some of them wrong. I want you to go back and review them. After Christmas, I will have this great verb cheat sheet that I give to my students every year. And I will either post that on Sycamore if I'm able to find it, or I will have it for you when we get back. But I hope to see you Wednesday. I'm thinking I probably won't, and I hope you have a lovely day.